Hey folks, we're back here for video number 2 tutorial on NavTech NavBlue. This is Stefan from your communications committee, and along with me I've got...
Hey guys, it's still Justin, the committee chair for the scheduling side of things. In this video, we're going to kind of focus more on the pairing side of the software. So this is going to be more of, what pairings are actually available and how to go about maybe filtering them down that kind of fit your criteria of what you want to do for the month. So like I mentioned in the other video, we want to come up here to the show filters, and the show filters is going to let us kind of break down exactly what pairings we want to see. So we have, an average daily block time, which is going to be, how much you're actually flying. Your daily credit is going to include some deadheads. This carryout, this one we actually just kind of found some information about. It's not one we use all the time, but think of it as a carryover. So, if you want to avoid a carryover trip that maybe it goes into the next month because you want the first couple days of the month off, that would be something you can kind of go in here and do. And we'll kind of dig into these as we go into the bids. We'll kind of dig into them and be able to tell the system exactly what we want, and we'll kind of broaden it out as we move down. If you want to avoid the deadheads, this is a way to kind of see what pairings have deadheads.
It's a very popular tool right there.
Yeah. It is. So some people like deadheads. I'm not a fan of it, but it is what it is. Duty duration and your duty legs, kind of some real basic information stuff. En route check-in time, I haven't really messed with that one. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I can get some more information if that is a concern of the pilot group to understand what that one is actually used for, and you guys can reach out to us. The landings in, that's kind of a big one, because as we get newer destinations, some people might want to try to bid specifically for that. I know the landings in was popular when we had Chicago to Miami. It became popular when we first got Hilton Head. And as we're kind of seeing, Hilton Head kind of has dropped off, and not a lot of people want to go to Hilton Head right now. Layovers, if you have a specific layover you're a fan of, that's when you can kind of go in here and see if that layover is still available. Pairing check-in time, pairing checkout time, those are the big ones for commuters. So you can go in there and say, hey, I need a trip that starts after this time and ends before this time. And that will be able to narrow down what trips are actually commutable, or what trips you might want to adjust. So if you have to come in a day early or stay a day later, you can adjust through there to find those pairings. Pairing total credit, that is going to tell you how much that pairing is worth. It's kind of self-explanatory, and we'll be able to dig into that a little bit more. Also, pairing length is going to tell you how many days it is. Also, on the side right here, they will tell you how many days it is too, but instead of going through all these pairings, you can specify like, hey, I only want to see 3-day pairings, or I only want to see 4-day pairings. And so that's where the pairing length will come in. Pairing numbers, if you know exactly what pairings you want, you can come in here and actually search for that pairing. I don't see that feature being used a lot. I do see that feature being used on the bid side.
That's probably for like very senior people that can get pretty much anything they choose. And, but it's not, it's worth a shot trying to do it yourself, right? Yeah.
So the pairing numbers, like Stefan was saying, it's very up on the senior end of things. Sit length, I know this has been, a big one over the last 6 months. We've been seeing that. And people try to minimize the sits and everything, and we're also working with the company to minimize the sits. So if there are pairings out there that might have sits more than 4 hours, this is how you can find those and completely take those out of your
Oh, there's nothing wrong with a little airport appreciation time. I mean, come on.
I guess, but if it's the go home day, you don't want to be sitting around.
Yeah, no doubt.
Split duty, that's a feature that is available through the bid software, but it's not something GoJet and the scheduling committee itself via the union is something we utilize here. Total time away from base, that's going to be your per diems. So it's going to be how many hours you're actually away from base. And
I see, build per diem that way.
Yep.
Right.
And then you have your credit per time away from base. You're going to be your daily credit. So no matter what, it's not going to be less than 4 hours because that's what our contract states.
All right.
And then you come down here to your total legs in pairing, total legs in first day, total legs in last day. So if on the last day you're a commuter and you just want to fly back to Chicago or Newark and be one and done, that's how to bid for it. You want to do total lengths, one leg and, be done and hopefully don't answer your phone when you land.
Well, right now, right across the top here in the middle, it says the pairings are 271 total. Should we use one of the tools and see what result we'll get if, like, maybe for the commuters, like a late check-in with an early checkout on the last day, and see how many pairings that whittles it down to?
Yeah, so we'll go back in here for a pairing check-in time. You'll click the box, and then you'll click it one more time. We have different options in here. So we'll have a date, time, range, days of the week, or time. I specifically use the time function. You'll go ahead and click on the time, and then you'll get a drop down for, you want it exactly to start at 11 a.m. or if you want to start after a certain time.
That's picky.
Yeah, so you can get really into the details with this bidding software. So let's go ahead and say, hey, I want a check-in time after, call it 10 a.m. For commuters, that seems pretty good. And then we'll go ahead and click the back button. We'll come back to our main one, so we'll make sure our check mark is still checked. And then we'll come down here to our checkout time. We'll go ahead and click on it. We'll go ahead and click on a time there. We'll come back here and we'll do before. And it does the 24-hour clock. So, we'll say 1900 for
military time. Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
for 7 p.m. And once we put that in there, we can go ahead and click apply. And once it applies, you'll see there's 163 out of 271 pairings.
So we just whittled 110 pairings out of here, and now we've got the results. Okay, all right, that's cool.
And then you can close, or you can hide your filter, and it'll tell you exactly, if they're 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. You can kind of scroll down and see what it is, and you can get more specific. So, if we're now looking for like a high credit trip, we can go down one more here to pairing total block time. We can say, hey, I want to do greater than, 20 hours. So we'll do greater than 20 hours. We'll hit apply one more time. And now you can see we've gotten really specific.
Right, because on top of the late check-in and the early check-out, now we're applying another filter on top of that. So now we're down to 3 out of total of 271 pairings.
Correct. And you can see,
they are. Yep.
You can see that the more specific you get, the less pairings are available. And then you can see that, pairing 5191 and 5180 would technically overlap. They're both 4-day trips.
I see.
So this one's going to start on the 2nd, and this one's going to start on the 4th. And so the system could only give you one of the two. So theoretically, only 2 out of these 3 trips are actually something you can have on your schedule. And
all right, and then in order to add that to your bid, over in the blue on the left-hand side, would you select that little box there, and then that would add it to your bid? Or
so you can do that. That would be bidding for specific pairings.
Right, yep.
Or, when we get into the bids, so via the filter, the same filter process is going to be on the bid side. So you can actually put these same criteria in there. And when you hit apply, it'll actually put it into a bid line itself. Right,
but it's a little more anonymous on the other side, which we're going to get to here in a moment. This actually shows you the very line number and all that. Okay.
Yeah, because if you select, say you wanted these 2 trips, and for some reason someone senior to you got your 5180, technically you still could have gotten 5191 added to your schedule.
Right.
So, unless you're specifically looking for a pairing, that's when you want to check these boxes and add them. But when we get into the bid side of things, you're going to be able to see, I can be as specific over here, but be able to, still leave myself options to get other lines or other pairings that are available.
All right. Did we knock this one out of the ballpark?
I think so.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next one. All right, folks. We'll see you in the next video.